What's going on, everybody? It's your boy JJ.
So, I would like to be like happy and upbeat about this one, but JJ was a friend of mine, and he reached out a lot when my father passed, and I really didn't have a chance to think about everything that happened with my father and my mother, and JJ is actually hitting me pretty hard right now. So I'm sorry, guys, but I want to thank everybody that's already come in. I see a lot of you guys are paying respect to JJ in the chat. Thank you so much. JJ would have wanted it. JJ would have wanted the show to go on, and that's why I wanted to start with the retro discussion intro, because he loved that intro. He told me, he said, dude, that intro is amazing. You don't know how much I love that intro, and I really did appreciate everything that he had to add to this panel, because along with Stieg and Jens, and along with Slash, who unfortunately we can't get a hold of, he was a founding member of the stream. So he was more than just that. He was a good friend of mine. There was quite a few times that me and him and Han were sitting having these late night conversations to sometimes like 6 a.m, just chilling and talking. I got a chance to visit him a few months ago when I was coming back from my father's with the last of the shit that I got out of that fucking house. And I got to see him, I got to hang with him, got to chat with him. He said he appreciated so much that I stopped by and seen him. No, JJ, I appreciate everything that you did. Every time you came up on this panel and you gave it your all, even when you weren't feeling well. I appreciate you, brother. Thank you.
Yeah. Oh, like, yeah, it took so soon. That was enough, but yeah.
Yeah, I'm still just kind of numb about it. I hate I didn't get to go see him this year. I went and visited him. My wife and I went and saw him last year in Jacksonville. Unfortunately, I couldn't get down there this year to see him.
I know I was trying to meet up with you too.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, you were when you came through. I said, I'm just still in shock. I mean, we all, any of us that knew him well knew he had a lot of health issues, but it just blindsides you.
It is weird how you don't think that it's actually, like you don't actually think. I knew he was, I knew that for a long time, that he was having heart issues, but he always pushed anyway. He always did everything anyway. He always showed up and showed out, and you wouldn't know it, with the way that he was so passionate about everything. He wanted to be involved, and he wanted to do, he wanted to have a hand in saving the things that we love because they were important to him. All right.
No, I think everyone here feels the same sentiments, and it's kind of hard considering all the losses everybody's had. I mean, like I said, for me, I think JJ is the culmination of everything that's happened over the past several years with me, and I think with JJ, I had the time to just sit here and just think about it. I wasn't afforded that opportunity with my own father or my mother. I didn't have time to think about it. I had too many things to do. Now I had time to think about it, and I think it's just everything just hit me all at once.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, Drew.
Hey, Hanstar, how you doing, man?
I'm here. I was saying a minute ago before you popped in. I'm still just
Oh, that's not what I wanted to do.
kind of numb about it.
I didn't think it was real at first. I still don't really know, you know. So weird.
I don't know. I don't know if you guys knew if there was a time where we had no food. It was near the end of the month, and this was back a while ago. JJ found out, and because we had just gotten done on a live stream or something, and we were just talking. He said, "Well, you gonna go eat you something now?" I said, "No. We don't have anything." And what happened was, sorry about that. Well, he goes and he said, "What's your address, Drew?" He gets my address and he sent over a bunch of pizza and stuff from Pizza Hut. And my mom and I legitimately were able to make that stretch a few days till money got in the bank. But this was the type of person he was. He just, he just
Shirt
that
off
was
his back.
it was just the way that JJ was. He cared so much about people, and it just to me, it was just this was such a shock. I just he was just one of the best people. I always called JJ an old-fashioned Southern gentleman.
Yeah.
That's exactly what he was.
That is exactly what he was.
SG. He was 100% SG. And it hurts my heart so bad because I know a lot, especially here lately, he'd cut back on his YouTube stuff and doing stuff. I get it. And I knew that he had some medical stuff he was facing. But boy, I just was not expecting this. And the last time I talked to JJ was just it might have been like about a couple weeks ago or something like that. I think it just I don't know. I don't have the words for it.
What you just said there, that he's on over something that people tend to forget that we do here in this community is that you're dealing with people. You're dealing with other human beings here. And it can be really easy to get caught up in what it is that you're trying to do, grow your channel, all of the goals you want to accomplish. And you can forget sometimes that there's another human being on the end there that gets affected by your actions or by your inactions, And JJ never forgot that. He always knew that there was another person on the other end there. And he was so good about the humanity aspect of all of this.
He just had one of the best hearts, Mary, of anyone, any human being I've met ever on the internet, off the internet. Doesn't matter. He had a pure heart. And that man embodied the best of humanity.
Yeah.
That man embodied the best of humanity. He genuinely cared about, fellow men and women, treated his friends like his brothers and sisters, like his own kin. And that I will always, always be grateful for, and all I could say is, and I don't know how many of you believe in God, but I said a prayer before I came on here because and I asked that God welcome JJ into the next plane of existence and look out for him and take care of his heart because it's an amazing heart. And and I know that I will miss him very much because this is just not this community in its entirety is just not the same without JJ being around. It's just not.
No, it won't be. It won't be at all.
No. I won't be the same without him.
No, Darius, JJ was one of the type of person, when he said to the group, "Hey, I love y'all," he meant it.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah, he was one of the people that spent hours talking to me the night my dad died, and I really appreciated that. I spent a lot of time talking to JJ in the backstage.
I just
watch movies.
Well, I want you guys to know that no matter what, in that same vein, when I tell you I love y'all, I do mean it.
I love all the love that we're getting for JJ in the chat. And I think he would appreciate that. But I want to do one thing. I want to do one thing for him because I think he would appreciate this too. Because I used to bust his balls about it. This is the best way to sum up JJ.
Very interesting. I see your hobbies are drinking, smoking weed, and all types of ill shit.
Yep.
That was perfect.
The first time I played that for him on the channel, he died laughing. He was like, "Yep,
Sounds about right."
Whew. Man, I can't believe my first reaction was I couldn't believe it. I haven't seen JJ in a while. He was one of the first people I started streaming with, like the first cruise I started coming around, hanging out with Mary and Han and a lot of other people in the community. And like I didn't get to talk to him for a long time because just doing my own thing, and we all just kind of grow and go in our own directions for whatever reason. And then a couple months ago, I seen him in a chat. I was like, "Oh, yo!" That's one of those names you see and you don't mean to forget, but you forget how much you love somebody. And we got to start talking again, and then we started drifting around each other's streams, and I was looking forward to doing some more stuff in the future, and then he's gone. I didn't want to believe it. And now I love that dude. I love him. I got a certain romanticism, I guess, for people that I get attachments to. There's some of those people are on this panel, no matter what the fuck goes down. Some of them, people in the chat, no matter what happens, there's always a part of my heart for you. And he was one of them people. I love JJ. I won't miss him, man. I'll see him on the other side. And my love to his friends and family. And I just wanted to be here to support you guys. And I wasn't as close to him as I wish I should have been. Never wait, guys. If you're out there in the chat, and it's like never wait. If you care for somebody, just don't wait. Don't wait. And let drama or bullshit or whatever the hell's going on around you, just go. Because you never know when somebody's going to leave. You never know when that's going to happen. And yeah, that's all I can say without crying.
Nothing is worse. Nothing is worse than regret.
Yeah.
Tell them you love them while they're here.
Yeah, it's easy to get caught up in what you have to do, and you don't talk to people. You're close to someone, and then you sort of drift, but you still try to talk to them every so often because you don't want to lose them entirely. But that's so true. It's like, because JJ was always great. He called me every few weeks. Every few weeks, JJ called me to check on me and to make sure I was okay, because that was the kind of person that he was. And you should never let those calls pass. Call him back. Even if you miss him, text him back. Let him know you care. Because even though I knew that he had health issues, I didn't actually think, and so you leave things unsaid, and maybe you don't say how much you care
Right.
the way that you should, because you take things for granted. So especially it's the holidays. Reach out to the people you care about. Tell them that you love them.
Absolutely. Because you never know. We all get busy. We all get to our work and do what we got to do. And that just happens with friends and family. But you can't, you got to keep those connections with people you love.
The last time that I talked to JJ, I said, look, you got my number. Anytime you want to reach out and you want to talk about what's going on, just feel free. And he's like, thank you, man. I'm all right. I just need some time away. And he always does. He did that quite often, so I didn't think nothing of it. He needed time to reset himself. He just wanted to get things right with his head. And then, yeah.
Yeah, because last time I talked to you, he came on a stream, but more for long, but he was saying, yeah, I love you guys and that, yeah, and I was thinking it was just JJ being JJ and that, like, but yeah. But he always would be like giving you,
It was
like,
guy.
yeah.
I'm trying not to talk because I don't want to cry on live stream.
I hear you, brother. One of the best people we had in this community. One of the people that built it. He's a friend to everybody. You could be a friend to him and be a friend to anybody. And that's rare. It's rare to find people that genuine.
JJ got himself dirty in all the ways that he needed to. Like you think of people. They're a good supporter. No, JJ wasn't just a supporter. He was a supporter, and he was happy to do that, and he was happy to engage in that role, but he wanted to do more than just support. He wanted to get down in the mud with us. He wanted to speak his mind. He wanted to be involved. He loved these things that we're fighting for. He was invested in it. It was very much what he spent his time on and where his passion lay.
Absolutely.
He wanted to see us do something meaningful.
And not just that, but build real connections with each other and have a good time doing it too. Being real. And that's rare. It's rare to find people like that.
He had skin in the game.
Oh, for sure.
And he was one of them where he wasn't scared to say what he was thinking and all, because like I was I was one time like on like backstage. I think Darius was in hand, like, and maybe Stig, but some dude, he got real drunk and that, and he started getting a bit sort of arsey in that, and like he said something to Mora on the lines of, "Oh, I don't care what you say to me." It was somewhat like that, and so Mora Kitty like left the stream because she's like, "Oh, don't talk." But JJ came on, he was like proper giving him, "Hey, when you're talking to my friends and that, talk with respect and that," and he proper like bowed him down and the dude like just sort of like in the end just had to like quit out because everyone like was like on JJ's side, so like yeah, sort of thing.
I remember that.
Yeah.
He did that more than once.
I was gonna say he's been known to do that on several occasions to stick his neck out to take up for his friends in this community.
Yeah.
If he thought he saw an injustice, and even those of us that he didn't ever meet in person. We were his friends, you know. True, we were his true friends, and he was our true friend. And
he knew what that meant too.
Yeah, he did, and I like how it was said about him. He was the dictionary version of an old school true Southern gentleman.
Yeah. Yeah, because JJ was on camera at the time, and it was one of them where if it had been like face to face with the dude, it'd have like, because the dude who was getting a bit cheeky in that he was frightened, as in like he didn't say a word. You know when like you know someone's frightened. So if it had been face to face, it probably pulled his pants. Because I was thinking, because anybody even shouting at me, but I was a bit like, whoa, because it was the first time I've ever seen JJ. You know, because like I didn't really know JJ that long. It was a year, but like the year I did not know him though. He was a great guy in that, and like had great fun and streams and that. And it was like the first time I'd seen JJ put on like his sort of like no shit attitude face and that.
I've seen him as a moderator jump onto the panel just to give somebody a talking to and then jump back out again.
Yeah, I have too.
I mean, there's so many other things you could probably say about JJ, but one of the things is that he was absolutely real, and he was 100% all about talking about what he loved. And every time he came onto this stream, somehow, some way, some shape or form, it always wound up going back to Star Wars, because that was his biggest passion as far as any franchise. Every single time, like, well, I may not have had a figure like that, but I had a whole bunch of Star Wars figures.
Oh yeah, he loved those lightsabers, man. He had just a ton of lightsabers. He sent me one. He asked me which one was my favorite, and I told him, well, I loved Obi-Wan. And what did he do? He goes and pulls out Obi-Wan's lightsaber and he sends it to me. And that was just the kind of guy he was. He loved Star Wars and he loved people.
Did you guys ever see his gaming chair? He sent me a picture of it, and I think I had Alora show it off on one of the coffee chats. He had made a skillful gaming chair that he made himself to play the old X-Wing and TIE Fighter video games. And I think he had taped a joystick to one of the arms, and he made himself a pilot chair, basically. Fun thing, though, last night I was looking at a website I used for old games. I was looking at the Star Wars games because Black Friday sale, and I saw those old games that JJ would talk about a lot. And sure as heck, his damn chair popped into my head. It's like I can't see those games now without seeing that chair in my head. I'll see if I can find a picture of it though. It's
everything
it's awesome.
Like everything he did was all like you're saying, like the down to earth stuff, like doing it himself, and keeping things simple. Like when I came to visit him, I said, I was like, dude, I'll take you out. Where you want to go to get something to eat? And he's like, no. And he said, let's go someplace simple. Let's just go to like Waffle House. Like, why you want to go to a Waffle House? You can go anywhere. I got a car. We could drive. We can go someplace nice. And he's like, no. Let's just keep it simple. I don't want nothing. But he was like that. He didn't want to impose on anybody either.
That was his favorite place in the world.
Yeah, but if you needed help, he would be there for you. Simple. I don't want nothing. But he was like that.
I actually found a picture of the chair. I'm going to put it in that little group thing.
Oh.
So you can share it. It's all kinds of awesome. I'm not even kidding.
Thank you all for stopping, and for those of you that have to leave, just you know what, say a prayer for JJ. And one thing I wanted to ask real quick before we go on talking about JJ, is there going to be a GoFundMe for his family?
That I don't know.
It all happened so quickly today. I'm not sure what we've put ourselves together on yet. Like, I woke up to the news. I looked at Twitter first because Stieg had messaged me, and then Chris Knight had called me, and so I checked my voicemail, and it sort of didn't quite land, that he was gone, and it felt very uncomfortable that like not, you know what I mean? Like, no, that's not, no, I just talked to him a couple of weeks ago. Like,
Right.
Hold on, like, let's figure this out. And I don't think we've had time to do that yet, really, to sort through anything. I think it's just sort of gotten to the place where, we're kind of willing to accept that that's even the reality of the situation. Although I certainly wouldn't be opposed to trying to set something up.
Well, you know what my first gut reaction was? My first gut reaction is get pissed off and start cursing in everybody's chats.
I think, I don't know if anybody else does, but Unzo has a connection to the ex-wife. So I think,
I've reached out to him too, and he had said something as well.
I'm sure we can figure something out.
I don't know if it'll be any of us, but I talked to his. I did get in contact with his roommate. She has his phone right now, but his sister. Oh my goodness!
There
it is.
I challenge everyone to get that out of your mind now.
That is awesome.
It's all kinds of awesome. I was literally jealous of that chair.
I'm kind of jealous of that chair.
I got a message from him saying, "This is how you play X-Wing." Yes. Well, yes, it is. And I had Laura share it, and he was really happy about that because I think he really liked that chair. To be honest, it's obviously made with love.
Yeah. Oh, that took time to put together. He had to carve that out. That wasn't easy.
Yeah,
that's a passion project.
Yes.
Yeah. What's going on, Chris?
Hi, Chris.
Not much, man. Wish it was always under better circumstances, but it isn't. Yeah. So, I know everybody here knew him, varying different times. Mary's here. Mary remembers the first thing that I was brought into, whatever we call this community now. Doesn't really matter. That's not the point. But Mary and I had exchanged some conversation on a friend of mine, Sean Stackhouse's Twitter feed, about The Last Jedi, and she invited me onto a stream. I think it was just you and me to begin with.
Yeah.
Talking about the points I made about The Last Jedi and how I am a person who does not mind the movie.
Oh, JJ was with you.
And the thing is that the very next stream we did was bringing Stieg. Man, I can't even remember who all. It was you, Stieg. I think Drunk 3PO was there. We're talking about, this is before any of us had 1,000 subs. I mean, this is 2-3 years ago now. And he was there too. But he wasn't like, I mean, I know it was all in fun and games. I'm not saying it wasn't. But he didn't rag on me about it. He's like, hey, I didn't mind it. It wasn't that bad.
Yeah.
Are you saying that he wasn't mean to you like I was?
Oh, yeah. No.
Well, no, JJ was unabashedly.
It's not like that.
He was unabashedly not supportive of The Last Jedi, but he made no bones about it. He didn't hate the movie. And he never backed down from that. But he was always very tolerant of other people's opinions on it at the same time. He just hated that politics was getting shoved into stuff. He didn't hate the movie itself. And that was one of the wonderful things about all of it, was that we could hold these different opinions and still have so much love for each other.
And that was the thing right there. And you look at stuff now, and I mean, there's a lot of problems with a lot of different things going on right now. People have forgotten about that we all, and I think still for the most part, most of us are still very tolerant as long as you are respectful about how you handle things. But that's the thing. JJ was always really pretty darn respectful. And he wore his heart on his sleeve. Always. You knew when something was bothering him, but he wouldn't want to say it. he wouldn't want to say it because it was like, I don't want to hurt somebody's feelings, or I don't want to make somebody feel like they have to do something. And I always used to say to him, I was like, JJ, I said, people are willing to do things if you ask them. You don't have to feel like you're bothering somebody if you ask for a favor or if you ask for help. Like he asked for intros or he asked for thumbnails, and LDG and me and other people would always be willing to help him, but he didn't want to ask. He was like, I don't want to ask people because I'm just JJ. I'm nobody. I got this small little YouTube channel. I'm like, JJ, people love watching your stuff. People love you. They love watching what you do. And I don't know if he ever bought into that, but that was JJ. And we all knew JJ for that. JJ was just a great guy all around. He was willing to do just about anything for you. He just asked me, what can I do to help you on your channel and stuff. And funny thing is 2 Sundays ago, I had given him access to my StreamYard in the new team option. And I gave him the freebie that I get to have that. And he was on one stream with me and using it, and we were talking about how strange it was and all that. And then the next time I talked to him was on Thanksgiving. I talked to him, asked him what he was doing, and I called him and I talked to him. And then the next thing is we were doing Cards Against Humanity or whatever on Chris's channel on Friday, and I texted him and I said, hey man, why don't you jump on? Texted him on Saturday, and sometimes people just don't get back to you, so you don't want to push too hard. And now he's not here. And I think anybody who knew him, we all knew he had health issues. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I am surprised by it happening, but I'm not surprised because he himself was always saying things like, yeah, I might not wake up tomorrow. Mm-hmm. And he was. And I used to tell him, hey, don't think like that. I said, like, lots of times your positive thought helps with things, but I don't know. It was just,
he was very down to earth and practical about it. He knew his situation and he was grateful for every day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he was.
He knew, like, and that I think when you know something to that degree, like that's the situation that you're in health wise, you appreciate every day. And it was something that he was always well aware of, that he was blessed to have the time that he had, because it could have ended already. So even a while ago for him, but he was still here and he was grateful for that. And he never treated it like it was anything other than a gift.
Well, that's true. He did say that multiple times. He says, hey man, I'm just living day to day because that's what I've got. And that's the type of kid he was. He was a great guy, and it's just going to suck. I streamed with him almost every week, unless he just wasn't feeling up to it or he just wanted to take a break. And I've probably done that for probably close to about 2 years now. So it's going to take some real getting used to, because, when he wouldn't show up or he wouldn't be there, or he had something to do, you're like, okay, well, next week. Well, there's not a next week now. So every week's going to go by, and it's one of those things you got to get adjusted to, not knowing that he's not there. So, but anyways, I just thought I'd jump on really quick. I've been out doing a bunch of stuff today, and I know everybody here has good things to say about him.
I tried reaching out to you earlier, Chris. I don't know what happened, but like it never really fully rang. So if you do wind up seeing my number on there, and why did he keep calling you? Now you know why.
That's fine. Yeah.
Thanks for being here, Chris.
Well, guys, every one of us, like I said, we have stories about him. We all spent time with them online. Han was lucky enough to meet the guy. We all have those things we can remember, and I've always said this at my father's funeral, that as long as people remember him and continue to talk about him, he will never truly die. He will always be there with us, and that's what I really believe that. He may not be here, but as long as we can remember him and talk fondly of him and talk fondly about the times we spent with him, that's what's important.
Absolutely, Chris. Well said.
Chris, you're saying that though. I mean, I was so glad on the way back home after everything was settled. And I was saying this earlier that I had the chance to stop and see him, and I took that opportunity.
Oh, exactly. We were talking about it. If I had had the time and any way of doing it, I would have been able to meet him at some point. We were talking about it, and it just never happened. So I regret that, but I will always hold on to the times we spent online talking about stuff. Talking about Star Wars, talking about just gaming and other things like that. So, guys, continue talking about him. I'll probably be on a couple other streams tonight about it, but thank you for giving me a second. I'm gonna jump out of here. I gotta cook dinner and stuff. But guys, just remember him for who he was, which is a really, really great guy.
Yeah, he was. Thank you, Chris.
Love you, brother.
See you, Chris.
All right,
Bye, Chris.
take it easy.
Good job, man.
It's
I
crazy.
guess.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You can go ahead.
I was with something that Chris had brought up about like people who are so humble that don't realize how much they mean to different people, or how much of an impact they have, how good of a friend they are. Like, that's a rare and beautiful thing, and I'm glad that we had that in our lives. And I'm sorry to those of you that were much closer to him than I was, that you're not going to have that. But like you said, he had an impact on a lot of people, and he was a good dude. Miss him. I'm sorry, I'm not very good.
JJ was inspiring to me.
The lesson I want to take from JJ is just his kindness. He wasn't judgmental, and he was just, and he knew the lay of the land about this community. He knew that people had drifted apart naturally because
he was here from the jump.
People just wound up in their own groups, and he didn't care. JJ hung out with so many different people. He did not care about stuff like that. He said, I remember him saying, man, he's like, I just hope people remember to be cool and love each other.
Yeah.
And it just, and you know what? Maybe we do kind of need to look inside ourselves and realize maybe we don't always do that to the best of our abilities, and take something from that kind of thought, because that was the best part of him, was his heart.
Absolutely, brother.
Yeah.
I was telling everybody before we started streaming, you talked about his heart. I'm a scatterbrained weirdo sometimes, and hard to get along with, and I can be real flighty. And JJ was always so patient with me. I get caught up in what's going on, and I get in my own head, and I tend to not be good about keeping up with people the way that I should. But damn, man, he was so sweet and kind. He was sending Kelly a lightsaber, and he'd sent it to me. And every few weeks he'd remind me, "Hey, can you send that on to Kelly?" And this went on for probably 5 or 6 months. It was probably the biggest pain in his ass. But he was so gentle. He would just, and he never got angry. He never got frustrated with me. He knew I was moving and dealing with family drama, and he was just always, "Hey, did you get it out to her yet? Hey, did you send it out to her yet?" And he never got angry at me. And if it had been me and somebody been as dilly-dallying about the subject as I did, I'd have gone off on somebody. I'd have been like, can you please just do what you said you were going to do? But no, he was so gentle, and eventually I finally got it done, and he never said a word other than, thanks for sending it on. Like, he was just, like, when you said he was a gentleman, he really was. He was very gentle, being the word. He was always very gentle with me. And he always checked on me, like, are you okay? How are you feeling? Because he knew about personal stuff,
He did, Mary. I talked to JJ. I was able to talk to him about, because you know too what I'm going through with Mom. And I was able to talk to him about the ins and outs, the daily things that happened with Mom. He was there anytime. It didn't matter what time of evening, anything. He was there, and it just, that's how he was. You're exactly right. And it just, man, and he would sit there and listen to you and console you for as long as you needed him. That's the character of that guy.
Hey guys, can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah.
Hey.
Can't hear you, Snow.
Yeah, we just wanted to pop in real quick, show some love to you guys, love to the chat, and just to share a quick story. Back in the day, I did some rapping for fun, but I never took it serious. And one day, I had a friend that worked at a studio, and for a birthday present, he hooked me up with a studio session to come down and make a professional song. So we did. We made this song called Get Loose Tonight, and I incorporated my good friend, Scott Ursery, on the song, and he sang the hook. Now, you can go to my channel and listen to it if you like. And great song, a lot of fun. But it was just a couple months later, and my friend Scott Ursery died suddenly. I was actually the one to find him on his couch. He unfortunately passed from, he was quite the drinker, and he got the flu real bad and detoxed, and his body just kind of gave out, and he passed away in the middle of the night. That said, after mourning my best friend and understanding, how cruel life can be and how short it really is, it put a fire under my ass to go out and make more music. And that's why I continue to make music, and that's why you got songs that you hear from me like Tuck and Roll and Go Hawks and such. How this deals with JJ is, and I love old JJ, he's popped on my show quite a few times, the Tuck and Roll show. We were going to have him as a regular on Puff and Stuff Season 2. Puff's actually over here bawling his eyes out. He's beside himself. But as far as JJ goes, from what I know of him, and I'm not as close to him as a lot of you guys here, but from what I know of his personality, I'd like to impart to you what I think he would say. And I think he would say, I love you guys. I think you're all awesome. And for Christ's sake, quit crying about me, because I want you to go out there and continue to push this message for me, for everybody else that can't do it, because this is what's important. And stuff like this, bringing people together that I haven't streamed with in probably years. I think this is one of those moments where JJ is going to sit back from wherever he is with his fat blunt, taking a fat puff, looking down on us right now going, look what I just did. I'm bringing all these people back together again, a lot of people that haven't even talked in a long time, and making them understand that this is what's important. Unity and the message, pushing forward and pushing and fighting, continuing to fight for what JJ believed and for what pretty much all of us believe in. And this is probably a good time to set your petty, differences aside and understand how important life really is going forward, and just being a great influence and trying to push across this great message that we've all been fighting for these last few years, and who JJ has been right by our side fighting with. That's it. That's all I wanted to say, guys. But
absolutely,
well
Snow.
said.
I don't
said, Snow.
I don't think any of us could have said it any better. I have somebody else that's actually trying to get in the back. I'm not sure who it is, but give me
I'm
a moment.
I'm gonna jump back off, but I just want to show you guys some love and just try to bring a smile to your face, even though this is a hard time, because I know that's what JJ would want. He wouldn't want you to be sad. He'd want you to smile and push forward.
Believe me, Snow. You know me. I usually don't get in my fucking feelings at all, but yeah, I think it was just a bit too much for me to handle.
I understand, brother. And loss is terrible. When I lost my best friend, I went on a domino effect. I lost my mom, my uncle, my grandma, my grandpa, a couple of dogs, a cat, another best friend, all within a 7-year period. Death can be defining. It is definitive, and it is a final moment. But I go back and I listen to that song with my best friend, and it's like I have a piece of him forever. And all of you that got to stream with JJ and have a video with him or a stream, you have that forever. You have a piece of him forever, and that will help you going forward. I promise.
Absolutely.
Well said, brother.
Much love, guys.
Thanks, Snow.
Tuck and roll.
Hopefully, whoever was trying to come in will jump back. So
she's not in any of the groups that you put the link in, Tommy. If you don't mind, could you send the link to Moira, or I can send it to her if you want me to from one of the groups.
I was just reaching out. She didn't say she needed the link. I was waiting for her to say it.
I forgot that she wasn't in either of those groups. But yeah, I was.
We got Anzo with us now.
There's
what's up?
Hey,
what's
brother.
Going on? What's up, guys? How you doing?
I'm sorry that I cursed all up in your DMs, but my initial reactions is anger with everything. I'm pretty sure you know that by now after dealing with me for a few years.
Mm-hmm. I don't remember seeing it. Oh, okay. And I just looked at it. Yeah, it's all good, man. It was a shock to me when
that one right now.
It was a shock to me when I got the message today. I was like, "Yo, like what?" It's just
I'm like most of us here. I think I didn't want to. We all knew he was in pretty poor health, but at the same time, we didn't want to believe it.
It didn't really seem real. No offense, Anzo. It's nice to meet you. I'd never met you before, and so I heard through Chris. Anzo had heard it. I was like, I don't know who Anzo is, and so I called Han, looking for answers, and Han jumped right on it and really did the legwork today to make sure that we were sure, that we knew what was happening, what was going on before, you know what I mean? Because you don't want to get this wrong. You don't want to get this wrong. And I felt such helplessness on this side, like being not sure and not wanting to believe it. But if it was true, I wanted to know for sure. And Han did that today. He did, he was in contact with Enzo, and then also he got in contact with the roommates, and so it was just like, you don't know what to do when you hear something like that. You don't know how to deal with that, or how to even accept it. And so, you have these people who are coming together to try to sort through what's left for us when trying to figure it all out. And
it's pretty messed up, I was on Facebook and I seen a message, and it was from Tammy, and it was like, oh, she said, can you, hi Anzo, it's you tell people that Johnny died. And I was like, Johnny? Who's Johnny? And then I was like, do you mean JJ? And she was like, yeah. And I was just in shock from there. I was like, what the hell, man? So I popped into LDG's backstage, and then I told him, and then let everybody else get the word out. So it's messed up.
Yeah.
Like, I'm never gonna stream with JJ again. That's fucked up. He was the first Chaos list I had. He was there. He's been there ever since.
Yeah. JJ's been in this community since the beginning. Like, I like to think of myself as an old school, like fandom minister, whatever you want to call it. I don't think it's right to remove how we've identified ourselves for so long. So I'll always be fandom menace, right? And JJ was there, from get-go. Just this will be my 3-year anniversary this January, and JJ was there within 6 months of starting my channel. He was in the chat, and less than a year, he was my moderator and my friend and panelist, and I was blessed to be able to spend time with him in a variety of ways. And there aren't a ton of people who have my number. It's something that I guard pretty carefully. Han obviously has it, but JJ was one of the people that I trusted with my number, and I've never regretted it. He always respected me, and he was always genuinely concerned and always genuinely extended his love and his friendship and his, just because that's how he was. And he never made me feel concerned, like there were people like not everybody has my number. Even people I've known for a really long time. Like I've known Stephen for years and years at this point, but JJ had my number because he inspired that kind of confidence and faith and trust. He was just a good person.
Hello.
Hello, Raquel.
Hello. I just heard the news a few minutes ago. I'm like in disbelief right now. I can't believe this is like happening.
No, me neither.
I saw Anzo's post on Facebook, and I thought it was some kind of weird joke at first. I was like, no way.
I would never joke about that.
Well, I didn't think you would, but I thought it was kind of like, when you roast someone joking around, and you're like, kill him. I thought it was a joke. I didn't realize it was actually serious. I was like, no way, no. I tried calling him, and his phone was already disconnected. I was like, what?
Yeah, I had the same thing because I was telling everybody earlier, I was talking to Jens before we even started. I was actually trying to get the original members of Going Old School together that I started the panel with, and I wanted to get them together for another go, like the original old group, just going in and talking about some old franchises, and then I couldn't get a hold of them. Then I started seeing the posts where they were saying JJ was gone, and the first thing I did is I started cussing people out. Like, where the fuck did this news come from? I started getting mad. That was my first reaction.
Mine was just sort of stunned, like, what? Like, it wasn't even real.
I'm still stunned. Like,
yeah, Raquel just woke up a few minutes ago, I think.
Yeah, I just woke up a few minutes ago. I'm like traveling tomorrow. Like, what the hell?
So messed up.
Here's what I was kind of hoping when I first heard it. I was kind of hoping that JJ was playing a practical joke on everybody.
Oh God,
that's what I was hoping for.
Like, it would have been in poor taste, but I would have heard it over this.
You know what? Yeah. No, I would have taken that and I would have laughed my ass off if it was a practical joke on his part, because he would mess with people a little bit.
Oh yeah, but this would be like a bit much.
Yeah.
Again, still with the
No, I don't think he would have ever done anything like that. I that's why I was thinking this had to be a mistake.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just had to be a mistake of some sort. I will echo what it is that Snowdub said, that like, look, there have been people who have drifted or weird lines that have been drawn in the community. And I suppose to some degree that's natural. Over time, people sort out who they mesh with best and people drift over time. But I disagree with Snowdub on a lot of different things, but I think he was spot on when he said that it's important to set aside petty differences, things that ultimately don't matter, things that aren't going to be what you take forward with you in life. Set those aside and remember that we're all human beings and that we all have something to offer, and try to find the good You know, and if you can't find the good, don't look for the bad. That was something JJ was really good at doing. Was he was great at finding the good in people. And something I never saw him do was look for the bad.
No.
It's funny because I was telling people that last week. I was like, all this petty shit that's going on, gotta get rid of it, man. You gotta let that shit go because you never know when your time is done, man.
Yeah, he wouldn't even look for the bad in his own life, and those of us that knew JJ well know that he didn't have the easiest or best life.
No.
And that never held him back. He never complained about it.
He appreciated what he had.
Yeah, he appreciated what he had. He had his little spot here on Earth and had his friends. And yeah, I like to do some 420 on a regular basis. But he would, as somebody was saying earlier, the only times I've ever seen JJ mad was if somebody came after one of his friends in this community and got out of pocket with him, or if there started to be a divide in the community, he would always basically say, "Look, guys, this is bullshit."
Yep.
JJ did that shit for me.
We all need to come together and love each other. We all can support each other in this community. We all need to be here and love each other. This is bullshit.
Yeah.
And other than that, I never heard him say a negative thing, you know, other than trying to keep the community together and support everybody in the community and multiple communities, the, you know, Fandom Menace community, Comicsgate community, other communities that you wouldn't really name one or the other of those. You know, he went on so many people's streams and supported so many people in so many different ways. You know, he touched so many people's lives. I don't know that he even realized how many people's lives he touched through YouTube.
That's my big regret. Is I have to. I tend to think that JJ had no idea how loved he was and how much he brought to people's lives. I don't think he knew. And that's on us. That's on me, you know, for not telling him when I could have, when I should have, you know. That's it feels wrong, you know, like you got to remember to say the little things.
You know, Mary,
don't sweat the small stuff, but remember to say it when you care about someone.
You know, Mary, that story I told about what he did for me and Mama, I'll tell you, you know, I always would tell him, because he, you know, he's like, don't tell nobody. He's like, I ain't looking for no public credit for that or nothing. He's like, he's like, Drew, I care about you. You're my buddy. I care about you. I care about your mom. He's like, you give that woman a hug every day. You know, and he was there for me. He's been there for me through so much. There's so much that I've leaned on him that I haven't told or shared with a lot of people. He's just been there to listen.
I'll remember. I'm sorry to cut you off, Drew.
That's why this was so shocking to me, because, man, it didn't matter. There were times I know JJ'd be busy, or he, you know, or I'd be doing my thing and we wouldn't talk for a few weeks or whatever. But, man, if I ever needed him or I needed to reach out and lean on somebody, by God, he was always there. And he never let me down. God, he was one of the best friends I've ever made, period. On or off the internet.
I agree.
I know there are other people trying to come in and
I can like step out and make some more room.
Yeah, I'll make a little room, Tommy. Okay, but I'll be in the chat and if anybody needs
I love you, Mary. Love.
I appreciate you coming on, Mary.
Sorry, Mary, for balling.
No, Drew.
I wish it was under better circumstances that you got to stop by, but you know what? I think JJ would appreciate all of us coming together, especially some of us that probably haven't been on probably the greatest speaking terms lately, but It is. I guess it's his gift to everybody.
It's a really beautiful gift, and if it's okay, before I go, I just want to say, like, I love everyone in this community so much. Even if I don't know you well, I have nothing but love for you, and I'm available. And if
I love you
anybody,
too. Love you, sweetheart.
I love you too.
if anybody wants to talk to me, okay, if I haven't made it clear, because there have been lines drawn, and I could have done better. I could have done better. If anybody needs to talk to me or wants to talk to me or anything ever, I'm open, and I'm there. And if you need anything or anybody, anyone, I'm anybody. And I'm here. If anybody wants anything, I'm here. That's all I'm saying. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense.
It makes perfect sense.
So just, if anybody needs anything, I'm around. And I'd never deny a conversation with anyone, no matter what's happened, no matter what we may have gone through or not seen eye to eye on, or how weird it may have gotten, or distant. That's there, and I'm there. And if anybody needs anything, I'm around. Okay?
Cool.
I'll make room. I'm sorry.
Yeah, love you, Mary. Anything?
Actually,
love you, Mary.
I'm gonna head out too because I got a stream for JJ at 8 o'clock as well, so I'm gonna get ready for that, man.
I'm going to try to stop by yours as well, Onzo, so I'll probably see you here in a little
I
while.
appreciate you stopping on, Onzo.
No problem, not a problem, man. And like I said, we all love JJ. JJ's in our thoughts, and yeah, I'm gonna try and honor him the best way I can. So, see you guys later, man.
All right, take care.
Love you.
Thanks, love you guys too.
Later.
Yeah, well, obviously, I've known JJ since Creepy Little Book. We met as chat rats on Creepy Little Book years ago now, and we eventually moved on, and both of us ended up involved with Mary, and then we both kind of started doing our own thing on YouTube, and the whole time, and unfortunately a third. One of the amigos that isn't with us anymore, Mox, that a lot of you knew, Mox Rocks. It was an awesome moderator.
I remember Mox. When I first started modding, I've run into Mox on a few different channels.
That's who taught me how to mod when I used to mod all the time. That's who told Mary to take me on as a mod. He said, I don't really want to mod for you. He said, but I know somebody that'll mod for you, because I had watched him so much. We called it the Mox system, and JJ, he came along too, and he modded for Mary, and then, like I said, we spun off and we started getting on streams and doing stuff like that, and the community has just grown and grown and grown. I've met a lot of LDG, Krishna, Raquel, Darius. There's so many of you, Jens. There's so many of you here that I probably never would have met if it wasn't for JJ. And like Drew, I'll remember, there was a few times, me, you, and JJ stayed up pretty much all night watching movies and just hanging out, until I would fall asleep and y'all would keep watching the movie. And we had so many late nights,
we would sit there and laugh at you.
Yeah,
we'd be like, yep, Han's still sleeping.
Yeah.
Hey, is the movie almost done? Yep, Han's still sleeping too.
And then I'd have to go back the next day and actually finish watching the movie, because I'd only when we watched Midway, I only saw half. I only saw half of it.
Oh God, yeah.
The next day, you and JJ are like, "Yeah, we muted you because you started snoring, so we muted you while we watched the movie." But
But that's the type of thing I'm gonna miss, Han. I'm gonna miss that, because just spending that time, and there were times, and this is, I think, my biggest regret is there's times when you get busy or life's eating at you, and you kind of drift a little bit apart from, the friends that in hindsight, maybe you shouldn't sometimes, and and it happens. But JJ always understood about that. He said, "Listen, Drew, I don't care if we ain't talked for like a week or 2 weeks, whatever. You know, when you come around and you need me, man, I'm here, and vice versa. So it's good. We're good. So don't sweat that." And he's like, "I know what you're going through anyway, so don't sweat that." But I did sweat that because, like, to me, you know, I feel bad when that happens. But he always understood. He always understood.
Now, you know what? He may have understood to a degree. Like when it comes to me, he would sit there and he would try to understand me, but he would say, "I don't understand why you got to be such a pain in the ass all the time. You're a good guy, but you're just a pain in the fucking ass." And like, I think at some point he actually came to grips with it that that's just who I was. And he didn't put me down for that. Like he's like, "Hey, you are what you are, and you're not going to change." I said, "Well, yeah, well, that's pretty much obvious. I've been like this since I was like 13." So he got it though. He got it. Like there's so many people that just don't get my sarcasm. They don't get like how sometimes I may wind up being a little belligerent. It's not necessarily always that I hate somebody. I just kind of get like that sometimes.
He likes your honesty.
Yes, yeah, he always did comment about being brutally honest, because that is one thing I've always been, is brutally honest.
Yeah, I remember JJ like saying, "Oh yeah, he'd rather someone be honest than bullshit. Like he'd rather just hear the truth than someone just giving him some shit."
Well, and he was the same way. If JJ told you something, you could believe it.
He would say it in the nicest way he could.
Well,
and he was
yeah,
honest.
even if he was telling you did something wrong or you should change
Right.
something, he would say it in the nicest way. But
Yep.
if JJ told you something, you could take it to the bank.
Indeed.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't bullshit. He may not candy coat it if he was talking about something that you were doing, like, "Hey, Maury, you know, maybe you should not do this or that or whatever." He was just looking out for people, you know.
Right.
Sometimes he didn't candy coat it, but if JJ told you he was going to do something, if he told you, "Hey, I love you," if he told you, "I support you,"
Right.
you could take it to the bank.
He knew how to candy coat it for me because he knew how to deal with me.
Well, you
God love him.
you always knew where you stood with him, Moira.
Yes. I
You
love
know?
that in person.
You know, you never ever had to. You
Yes.
never had to wonder where you stood with JJ.
Yeah.
Slasher, why ain't you up here, buddy?
Slasher, good to see you, brother.
No.
Hey, Slasher.
I was worried about him.
Yeah, I
couldn't get a
was
hold
too.
of him like last
Slash.
night or today. I was freaking out.
Oh, Tommy, I need to make supper, so I need to bounce. But thank you.
Drew, it was good to see you, brother.
I'm
Thank you
sorry.
for coming up.
I know it's
Go
been
ahead.
a minute since we've talked, Drew, but it's good to
honey,
see you, brother.
Well, I got a feeling we'll reconnect. I missed you too, and you know, I just Tommy, thanks for having the stream. I know JJ would have been really happy.
Poor Darka.
He would have really appreciated it. I appreciate doing it because he mattered to all of us.
He
so
would have
much.
been embarrassed by it, but he would have
Yeah.
appreciated it.
Oh, absolutely, he would have.
So true.
Yeah.
He'd have been like,
Yeah,
"What?
he'd love
Why?
this.
What the hell? Why are y'all doing this for me?" You know. But at the same time, you
He
know
was
that
bashful like that.
He'd appreciate it.
know,
Yeah.
he
Yeah.
would take it to heart, and you know, it would really make him smile, even though he would, you know, be bashful and be like, "No, why y'all making so much fuss over me?" You know. But and I think it was Mary was saying earlier, or it may not have been Mary. I'm sorry if somebody was saying earlier. His legacy maybe now can be, look at all the people he's brought together.
Yeah.
Some of us haven't
There's
talked in
no
a while.
Yeah.
I mentioned it. I mentioned it earlier when Mary was getting ready to step out. Snowdub had made mention to that. Walton made it mention right here in the chat.
The best way,
he brought a lot of people together. I mean, you know, at one point I used to be somebody like that, where I used to mod everywhere, and I would be a bridge between like different worlds on YouTube, because it's like night and day in some corners of that galaxy.
Well, you know what you just said, Tommy. JJ was a unifier, and I think a lot of people are going to remember him that he was a unifier.
Well, and
You know,
not
and
to
that-
make it not to interrupt you, or not to make it sound political, but he crossed so many party lines.
He did. He
and
did.
tried to unify riffs that were in the same community, unify different communities that had, you know, the same interests. You know, he just tried to bring everybody together, and all he wanted was for everybody to get along and love each other.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't necessarily, like we said, sugarcoat it sometimes.
Right.
But if he said something, you could take it to heart, because he may not have sugarcoated it, but it came from his heart.
Yeah.
He's probably one of the most honest people we'll ever know.
No, I'm
was.
sorry.
No, go ahead. Whatever you got to say, go ahead and say it.
Well, I think I found Hanstar and JJ through this friend of mine, and Hanstar and JJ were so really nice to welcome me into this community, and I can't be any more thankful for that. You know, I would, you know, go to his, you know, movie review watch parties and stuff like that. I would, you know, go on you know, on Hanstar's show with him, and he would go to mine. It's just, I'm just really in shock, you know, that he's no longer with us.
It is definitely clearly out of the blue. I was not expecting it. I was actually I was so looking forward to his sarcastic humor.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if he told you guys, but I think he did, that he might be coming back after Thanksgiving for the movie review podcast.
Yes, he was mentioning it.
Yeah, you know, Tommy, it's funny you mentioned his sense of humor, man. I'll tell you what, JJ was so like just soft spoken, even keel, but boy, he could talk shit like a champ. You know, JJ could bust balls like a champ, man. If you sat around just shooting the shit, you know. But he was such a riot, so much fun, you know. But yeah, he was such a good-hearted, unifying dude.
Do we know the last stream he was on? The last stream.
I'm not sure, because
It might have been
look
Raquel
that
7 days ago.
I'm not sure.
It might have been mine, yeah.
Yeah, it had been a minute since I've talked to him, so
yeah. I talked to him, like, when was the last time I messaged him?
It's been a couple weeks for me.
Yeah, November 25th. I said, "Happy Thanksgiving," and he replied, "To you as well, darling." That was the last time I spoke to him.
Oh,
Thanks, Mads.
I didn't wish him a happy Thanksgiving.
But yeah, you know, I'll always remember him as that old school Southern gentleman. He is traditional Southern gentleman.
Oh, to the core,
Yeah,
man. To the core. They don't make them like that anymore.
Nope. But listen, like I said, I gotta run. I gotta make supper. I love you. I really do, man. I love y'all. Mary, you know, I know Mary's still watching. Mary, I love you, honey. You know, and thanks to everybody in the chat for sharing the wonderful thoughts about JJ. You know, there's not going to be another John. There is not.
No.
Hey, Drew.
Yeah.
Before you go, sometime within the next 12 to 24 hours, call me, you Asian asshole.
Will do, Timmy. Take care.
Yep.
You got your phone back on. That's good.
Yeah. Actually, this is a brand new one because I broke the old one. And you know, I was watching through the. I was watching on the YouTube side.
Well, make
Before I
sure you
popped
send
on
me
here.
your number.
Yeah, it's still the same number, dude. Still the
Okay.
same number.
All right. Well, then we're good.
But,
But Tommy, thank you so much, and I'll catch you guys soon. I promise.
All right, good to see
All
you,
right, Drew. Thank you for coming
care,
in,
Drew.
buddy. You take care.
But
Maybe we
you
should
know,
all exchange numbers just in case.
you know, you guys were, you know, mentioned, you know, like the little things, you know, the little petty things and stuff, right? A while ago. And you know, speaking of, you know, the new phone that I'm on, right? Is because of, you know, a little petty thing. I had to replace my old phone that I've probably had for around 5 years, right? Because, you know, the memory or whatever was getting to the point where it was, you know, things didn't want to work. You know, when you get that little icon up in the top of your screen, you know, that says your storage is almost full and things might not work right. Yeah. You know, so I was, you know, trying to be, you know, getting on Twitter last night and it kept kicking off, kicking off, kicking off. So I got a little pissed and I threw the phone down on the desk and now the screen is all like jittery and stuff, you know, kind of like when you know, like when your TV would go on the fritz or whatever, right?
Yeah.
So,
The
you know,
fuck's wrong?
and you know, and now, you know, after I get this new phone straightened out to where I could use it, and I hop on, you know, I hop on YouTube, and I'm like, oh, hey, Tommy's, you know, Tommy's doing his show right now. I'll tune in, and then I hear about, you know, JJ, you know, and I'm like, here I am, you know, freaking driving around, you know, town like a madman because I couldn't, you know, I couldn't get this thing straightened out on my own. I had to come back to freaking Wally World to have them help me with it, you know, and it's just, yeah, it's just one of those things, you know, I'm like, you know, I was all just fuming, right? I was fuming about my damn phone, and you know, you find about, you know, somebody who's, you know, around your age, right, that's no longer here, you know, and it just
Yeah.
kind
Yeah,
of puts the perspective in there a little bit.
Yeah.
I know. Here goes another one of our. Here goes another one of the original panelists for when the show started. Somebody who got to know JJ pretty well over that time too. Slasher, what's going on,
Hey,
buddy?
Slasher.
Hey, Slasher. How
Hey,
are you,
Slash,
brother?
how's it going?
Yes, that's
Hey.
right. Yeah.
Hey, everybody.
So when I reached out to you, Slasher, was that, I take it that was the first you've heard of this?
Yeah. I had no idea.
It was something I wasn't expecting. Yeah, it just it hit me clear like sideways. I wasn't ready for it, so. But I mean, I think about all the times that I would talk with JJ, and this is one thing that I would do a lot with him. Because he was so patient and so he was so understanding, I would just try to find ways to just make him stop and look at me like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
I've done that to JJ a lot. Say things, not like bad things, but things a little bit off the wall, and him literally, like, if we've been next to each other in a chat, him look at me and go, what the fuck is wrong with you? Seriously?
Yeah, when he got too crazy, it's like, fuck it, I'm out. That's what you knew he was going to.
That's why I said that I love it when you say something that's so out of left field that he feels the need to turn his camera on, like stop you for a moment so he can turn his camera on and get right up into the camera.
Yeah.
What the fuck? Yeah.
What the fuck is
Yeah. It's him.
He'd have to stop packing a bowl just so he could turn his camera on, and like Chris was saying, get all up in the camera and say something to you.
But I have to say that the last time I talked to JJ was on this very channel during one of these old school streams. And that wasn't that long ago.
Yeah. When you was at the library.
I don't. Do you remember when that was, Tommy?
God, I can't offhand.
I mean, has it been 2 weeks, 3 weeks?
I want to say it was about 2 weeks ago because because Slasher had stopped on, and it was the first time that Slasher had the chance to come back on, and JJ was he popped in for that one for a little bit. I want to say that was about 2 weeks. Well, technically almost 3 weeks now, considering this is the Monday stream. So it wasn't last week, it wasn't the week before, but it was the week before that. Yeah. I'm pretty sure. I would have to actually go back and look at my live streams to make sure. But I mean, I don't know about other people. When you're doing these streams week after week, sometimes 1 week just blurs in the neck, and you can't remember. Well, what the hell did I talk about last?
I know.
Before,
Yeah.
But believe me, I know. I'm with all the things I got on my plate. I do good to remember my own damn name sometimes. But yeah, that's wow. And that, like I said, the thing is, I mean, pardon me for, I don't know, he probably told me once upon a time how old he was, but I know he, give or take a few years of my own age, and, it's like, well, now he's, in a different in a different plane of existence, and it's just
he was late 40s. I want to say he was 46 or 47. He just had a birthday in October.
No. He was a 40
49,
God,
right?
he was 49. He was 49.
Oh, okay. He was
we were
49.
we were born in the same year in 72.
He just turned 49.
Yeah. And I'll be 51 in February. So now that that really, I mean, talk about talking about having a certain perspective when somebody that is actually a couple of years younger than you, is in the afterlife now. It's just I mean. There's just, I swear these days, there's just too many people passing on before their time, I don't like it.
No, it definitely isn't fun.
I knew his birthday was in October because last year, my wife's birthday is also in October. And last year, it just so happens my wife also has a friend in Jacksonville. So we went to Jacksonville for 3 or 4 days last year. So she could see her friend, and so I could meet JJ in person. And my wife and I had decided, which it was kind of my wife's birthday dinner too, but my wife and I had decided, we'll take JJ out for a really nice birthday dinner. And talking about him being humble, I was like, and he didn't have great means, but I was like, man, I want a really good steak. Where would you go for a really good steak? He's like, oh man, I'd go to Longhorn. I was like, hey man, you want to go to Longhorn? And we know JJ didn't have a lot of money, And JJ's like, oh, hell yeah, man, I'll meet you at Longhorn. So we met at Longhorn, and we get sitting at the table, you know, and he's looking at the menu, and I said, order whatever you want to, man. I said, it's your birthday. And he stopped and looked at me, and he said, no, man. He said, I'll pay for myself. I said, no, you don't understand. This is your birthday dinner. You can order whatever you want to. And he said, oh, no, come on, man, no. And I said, JJ, this is your birthday dinner. You can order anything you want to. It's on Melissa and I, which is my wife, doxing my wife, Melissa and I. And the look on his face, like he couldn't believe it, or he, you know, it's like it was a combination of I don't want to accept it and I can't believe it at the same time because he was so humble. You know, he showed up not having, you know, not making a lot of money on disability. He showed up and was going to pay for his own steak at Longhorn. And then when we said we'd pay for it, because he joked around, he thought it was a joke at first. He said, well, I'm going to have a Crown Black to drink and I'm going to order steak and lobster. And I said, I told you it's your birthday, man. Order whatever the hell you want to order. And he kept saying, are you serious? And I said, yeah. And he said, no, come on, man. I said, no, I'm serious. He had Crown Black and he ordered steak and lobster.
Yeah, I tried to get him to eat something when I went and visited him, Han, and he wasn't having it. He was not having it. He's like, no, I'm not going to let you spend. Dude, I'm taking you out. I told you when I was coming, I was going to take you out for lunch or dinner or whatever time I got there. I was taking you out to get something to eat. And he was like, no, I'm not going to let you spend the money. I was like, I'm going to spend money regardless. You see, I got my daughter with me. She eats like a hippopotamus. So I'm spending money anyway. You think your meal is going to hurt me? It's hers that's going to kill me.
And, you know,
he didn't want to hear it. Didn't want to hear it.
As Piper was saying, the most humble person. I didn't know if he wanted to be pissed at me or cry when I was like, man, order whatever the fuck you want to order off the menu, man. You want to drink Crown Black? Tell him to bring the damn bottle to the table. This is for JJ. You know, and I was lucky enough, like Tommy, to get to meet him in person. I spent 3 days or so in Jacksonville and hung out with him. And we went out, you know, did some stuff, and he sat there and ate his steak and lobster though, and drank his Crown Black, Tommy. But the way you had to do it was you had to trick him. You had to say, "Hey, let's go eat such and such a place," and he'd say, "Okay." And then when you got there, you pay. Because if you just told him you were going to take him out to eat somewhere and pay for him, he wouldn't let you. Because that's how, you know, that's just how he was. He was humble. And, you know, not that I thought he thought it was a handout, but he was just so humble. He's like, well, no, you know, you come down here to see me. That's my gift. As you came down to, the way he looked at it is my wife and I coming down there around his birthday. That was our gift to him. We finally got to meet each other in person, you know, hang out for a few days. And, you know, he wouldn't accept it unless you kind of tricked him into it, Tommy. That was kind of how we had to do it.
Well, I tried to do that, and he still wasn't having it. Like, I was like, oh, well, you know, I was actually I wanted to order him a freaking pie or something, make him take it home, but he was not having any of it. I mean, probably partially because I had picked him up too in the car. It wasn't like, hey, I'll meet you somewhere and I could order something for you ahead of time. No, it wasn't like that. I picked him up and took him out to the place. So
he got the last night we were there, he did get kind of aggravated because we went to a really cool, really nice seafood restaurant, which I think LDG will remember that when we were talking about that, LDG, because you're like, man, if I had known, I would have come over there and met y'all, because we were talking about how good. I think you're muted, brother.
Yeah, I almost went. I remember that.
Yeah, we were talking about how good the seafood is, and you're like, man, I wish I'd known. I'd have drove over there. But the way that restaurant was, is it was a restaurant where you sat at tables, a really nice restaurant, but you ordered at a counter. It was like an old school, like fish shack is what I would call it, but it was really nice inside. And What he didn't realize was I ordered, my wife ordered, and then he said his order. But what he didn't realize is we hadn't paid for our food yet. So we paid for his food again, and then he got pissed again. He's like, "No, what the hell? You know, I was gonna pay for myself. You already bought me steak." And I'm like, "Look, brother, I'm so happy to come meet you. You know, meet you in person. Buying you a meal is just buying you a meal. Let's go sit down and enjoy this awesome seafood and have the fellowship of being able to meet each other in person." That's just how humble he was. He was, it didn't matter where I said, "Hey, let's go eat there." He would agree, even though I know he didn't have great means. He was going to spend the money to go, to hang out. So, he kind of got aggravated though on that last night. He's like, "Man, come on. You've been, you bought me this." I was like, "Well, come on, brother. Get your shrimp and let's go sit down and eat our shrimp and fish and stuff and just have a good time."
Becky, I did the stream for everybody who loved JJ, everybody who was touched by him, everybody who was impacted by him. I mean, quite honestly, like I actually had a hard time getting through the beginning of this stream. I was having a really difficult time. I've since found my composure somehow, but no, I didn't think I was getting through the very beginning of this stream at all.
That's why I didn't talk a lot at the beginning, Tommy, because I was trying to find my composure.
You were trying not to join me?
Well, the little bit I did say and hearing some of the other stuff people said, I was already tearing up. And that's why I think it was Stephen Walton when he was still on the panel. I was like, I'm not saying a whole lot because I'm this close to just bawling on the stream. But we all have our good memories of JJ. I was lucky enough to meet him in person, so I also have those memories to keep in my heart. Not only that, but all the streams that are still, saved on my channel. I'll just always remember anybody that's talked to JJ a little bit. Sometimes he would talk about music therapy. If shit kind of got to him, he'd say, "I'm going to do music therapy." So he picked me up one day when my wife was visiting her friend that also lives there. And he said, "Man, you want to do some music therapy?" I said, "Man, brother, this is your town. We'll do whatever you want to do." So we head south on the coast, right along the beach. I think that's Tommy. That's A1A, I think, isn't it?
Yeah.
Between Jacksonville and St. Augustine, it runs right along the beach.
Yep.
So we head south on A1A. It's a beautiful day. Drop the windows, crank the tunes up. He said, "Man, this is music therapy." He said, "When shit gets to me, I drive down along the beach about to St. Augustine, and part way to St. Augustine's in the middle of nowhere with a $45 billion view is this like in the middle of nowhere gas station that literally you can see the ocean right across the road from it with nothing around." We stopped there because he always stops there and, gets a drink or something. Hung out there for a while, talked, watching the water. And it's, went down to St. Augustine, did the loop and came back. And that's just something that I'm going to hold right here and right here is, just an awesome memory doing music therapy with JJ. And as Drew was saying, I mean, I have some, some friends, and a lot of you here. I love a lot of you here. Y'all are my friends. But he was, even before I met him in person, he was my best friend. Whether it was on YouTube or in real life, JJ. I mean, we had spent so much time together. We were so close. He was my best friend, and obviously I'm going to greatly miss him. And it's if JJ said something, he meant it. And the last night before we left the next morning, he got ready to leave the hotel where my wife and I were staying, and we walked him out to his car, and he gave me a big old bear hug, and he said, "I love you, brother." And I know he meant it. I know he meant it. You know how you can just feel the love off of somebody. I could tell.
Yeah.
You know, he meant it. And he and I had talked before. I call a lot of people brother, but I'd tell him, I'd say, man, when I call you brother, I mean it. And he said, man, when I call you brother, I mean it. And he gave me a big old hug and said, man, I love you, brother. And I said, man, I love you too. And the funny thing talking about him being a Southern gentleman is he was going to shake my wife's hand. Because it being my wife, he didn't want to give her a hug.
Mm.
Because to him, that was like, that's your wife. I don't want to get up in her personal space. So my wife was like, no. And went in and gave him a big old hug and said, man, I've had so much fun meeting you. So great to meet you, and talking about it being a Southern gentleman, he messaged me that night or texted me and said, man, I'm sorry if I got out of line. And I'm like, what are you talking about? And he said, well, I hugged your wife. And I was like, well, technically, she kind of forced you to hug her, first of all.
No, you don't understand, hon.
Yeah.
I touched her butt.
He's like, yeah, man, but that's your wife, man. That's your wife. And I was like, brother, it's not like you tried to stick your hand down her pants or something. She gave you a hug when you tried to shake her hand. I said, he's like, well, I just didn't want you to think I got out of pocket or anything. I really enjoyed meeting her too. And I was like, she really enjoyed meeting you. She gave you a hug because she wanted to give you a hug. I'm not gonna beat your ass. He's
Right?
like, well, I just wanted to make sure we're still okay because I don't like to just be hugging other people's wives. And I was like, well, technically she kind of forced you to hug her.
Yeah.
But that was the message he sent me though. He was like, man, I hope I didn't get out of, he took that to heart. Like, oh my God, I hope I didn't upset Han. The whole Southern gentleman thing we were talking about. Oh, I hope I didn't upset
I mean
Han.
it respectfully, but that's such a JJ thing to do.
No, it is. And I was like,
it is.
I would, especially if my wife initiates it. If I met any of you in person, even if she didn't initiate it, like LDG, if I met you, LDG, and you we kind of do a bro hug, and then, you give my wife a hug, I'm not going to be like, fucking LDG, give my wife a hug, that fucking bastard. I mean, I'm not, but JJ, that's just how JJ was. He seriously was worried that it, had upset me.
Right,
Like he had
there's
done,
hugs and
like
then
he had
there's
got
hugs.
out of pocket, and I'm like, brother, no,
Somebody in the chat actually reminded me of something, and it made me giggle a little bit. So this was when JJ was doing the random movie talks on, and I forget. I think it was it Raquel or was it somebody else that brought up something about the GoBots, and then I started it on JJ just reciting the history of the GoBots.
Oh, that was when we did the
news reporter voice when you were doing your news report.
That was when we. No, I think I brought up GoBots.
Yeah, and Tommy was responding to everything
Maybe-
with the news reporter voice.
Maybe I know I probably mentioned either anybody mentioned
That was-
Transformers, and then we
It was the Transformers animated movie was the stream.
Mm-hmm.
And somebody
No, that was on the last Starfighter that it happened. I
Was
vividly remember, yes, because Slasher was going off about how we only spent 30 minutes talking about the last Starfighter, and the rest of it was just ranting about stupid things, driving JJ
Well,
nuts.
I know. I don't remember if I was there for the last Starfighter. I don't know
I
that
don't
I
remember.
was.
No, you were there. You were there because I remember you're the one that started because you're the one that said something to me about the GoBots because you said something about, oh, Tommy, well, what about the
said that-
GoBots? And then I went into this tirade.
And I said the GoBots were bootleg Transformers. That was part of what started it. Was somehow we talked about Transformers, even though it wasn't the Transformer movie. And I said, yeah, I used to have some GoBots, like the ghetto bootleg Transformers. And all of a sudden, Tommy was like, "Oh, hell no." And Tommy went into the entire history of GoBots and how they were before the
Well,
Transformers.
didn't they come first? Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Tommy went into the entire history of the GoBots
during the last Starfighter stream.
Yeah.
No, I think the best part was though is like he was like this. Well, how did I forget how he put it? I think he called me this son of a bitch or something because he put me in the back in the green room, and when I came back on, I was still talking.
Yeah. He's like, "Come on, man, it's last Starfighter." Cut you off. You come back in. Well, actually, they use such and such a plastic because in 1973, and it's like, Tommy's still talking about the GoBots. But that was kind of my fault because I remember calling them bootleg Transformers. That's what set you off, as I called them bootleg Transformers.
That was a lot of fun, though. Like even when you slightly upset him, he was never really upset. I think I've only seen him get mad a handful of times, like seriously mad.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think most of us know like the one troll that set him off.
Yeah, there was two of them, I think. Yeah, but I haven't seen JJ blow his top that many times at all. I've seen it where I thought he was going to, and he didn't.
And it wasn't 100% of the time, but most of the time it was either taking up for somebody else in the community or being upset about a rift in the community. Yeah, like I said, it wasn't 100% that way, but a lot of time, most of the time, that's what it would make him so-called blow his top, was those two things.
With JJ and like that percentage of time when it wasn't like for the rift or something like that, it has been my experience with him that if he was in the wrong, he will apologize as soon as he can, and he'll try to make it right. Which is that's what is showing that he's like the good person that he was. That even if he gotten it wrong and he'd said something out of line, and like you get into a spat with him, he'd be willing to make up and be willing to talk it out.
Yeah,
and he was great like that.
There was an incident on one of my last live streams, and he came to me after trying to get a hold of me, and things were rough because I recently lost my father, and it just became hard. Even though I was in the backstage, I don't know what was going on, but he would just DM me, trying to meet up in private to talk, and I knew what it was. And he finally gets a hold of me the other day and says, "Hey, man, I'm sorry for the bloodbath." I'm like, JJ, man, you're like one of the few people that you don't even need to apologize to me. I know you were sorry when you did it. Like, you're genuinely sorry. You know what I mean? And he's, I just want to make sure, no bad feelings. Of course not, man. Not at all. But I mean, he definitely, when he knows he crossed the line, he definitely mans up, takes responsibility, and tries to make it right. And means it. Actually means it.
I had a similar thing with him that like there was some bullshit on the stream, and then we talked it out and we were okay, and it's like it was all good, and then the last thing I send him is a message because he'd said to me that some of the things he enjoys the most, that he absolutely loved the most, was hanging out on the live stream, just mucking around, playing a game with his friends. And the last thing I sent him was a message inviting him to come and play Cards Against Humanity with us, and he didn't see it. I sent it to him on the last Friday, and it's still sitting there unread. And it's just, I at least wish he'd known that he was more than welcome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At least I
I
hope he
always
knew
try
that
to
he
give
was.
him credit, for helping me out with so many things. And he would always deny it. No, I didn't do nothing. Everything you did on your own. I'm like, nah, man, you've done a lot for me. I wouldn't be here doing this if it wasn't for you. He's like, no, I didn't do nothing.
Well, he's the one that introduced me to you, Darius. I mean, not to sound like an asshole, but I had no idea who you were. Partly because
That's fair.
of my first shift schedule, I'm not as deep in the later night YouTube as I used to be. And one time I was off or something. He's like, "Hey, man, I'm gonna send you a link. Come hang out on this stream I'm on." I'm like, "Okay." It was your stream.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah, and
that's
I didn't know
how
who you were yet either, but he said you were
that's
cool.
how I was introduced to you, and then I ended up getting introduced to Raquel.
Mm-hmm.
Like we were saying, he would just bring people together. Try to get everybody tied together, just to prop everybody up and support each other.
Right. And I didn't know you yet, but he said you were cool, so you were cool.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, even if people didn't get along and he knew it, he would always try to find some way around that impasse. So at the very least, like if somebody was going to have a show where they had two guests on with completely polar opposite opinions and maybe not even liking each other, maybe like a little bit like want to be at each other's throats, he would find a way around that 9 times out of 10 to try to just get everybody together to get through something.
Mm-hmm.
And he said you don't have to like them, but at the very least, just respect the person that's running the stream and, make it through.
I've seen him, if there was starting to be an argument or a rift, I've seen him not like trick people, but I've seen him somehow get 2 people on a stream and be like, "Look, y'all, this is bullshit. We need to talk this out. LDG and Darius, y'all not getting along. This is bullshit. We need to talk this out. We all need to be together, stay together. We don't need to be splitting apart." I've seen him do that several times where he was like the so-called peacemaker, and would get people on his streams, and get them to bury the hatchet, and just fix, little rifts that were forming in the community. Not that LDG and Darius aren't getting along. That was just an example.
It's funny that you use that as an example because of what happened. I was going to say, did he DM you on Monday?
Oh, we're not even going to talk about that, LDG.
No, but I mean, but he would do that, and he did do that.
He would do that.
I'm still fuzzy on the details. What exactly happened?
If you would like me to, Tommy, I can tell everyone what I know.
Yeah, you can do that, Han.
I talked to his roommate. The details I have from talking to his roommate, he had 2 roommates.
Mm-hmm.
Both of them were his really good friends. The lady that I talked to, she had known JJ since she's 15, and her fiance had also known JJ for probably at least the same amount of time, if not longer. It was one of, some of his best friends that actually took him in after his divorce when he needed somewhere to go. And they all became roommates. But anyway, I was able to get in touch with her. She actually left a comment on one of my YouTube stream from last night. Luckily, it shows you what the comment is in the email it sends you, because YouTube deleted it immediately because she put her Facebook name in it. So I was able to get in touch with her on Facebook and got her to call me so I could talk to her. It just so happens she is the one that unfortunately found JJ today. From the information she told me, his roommates unfortunately were out of town for the holidays. So and I'm assuming she got the information I'm getting ready to say from the coroner. It's all still tentative because I'm sure they'll do an autopsy just to see exactly what happened, but they think he passed away either Friday night or sometime Saturday. But unfortunately, they were out of town. I did not ask her, nor do I know exactly when they got back into town, but she told me that today, around noon, she went in to check on JJ because I guess since they've been home, they hadn't seen JJ or heard anything out of JJ. So she went in his room to check on JJ, and unfortunately, he was deceased. She said it looked like he had got out of his chair. Everybody knows about his recliner. He'd got out of his recliner. Looked like he had kind of was going to do whatever and had stumbled a little bit and was unfortunately in the floor deceased. They don't know yet exactly why. We all know JJ had a very bad heart. He had very bad diabetes and was prone to diabetic episodes where he would pass out.
Yeah, he would almost go into diabetic shock.
Fortunately, the last few times I personally know of it happened, his roommates were there because like he fell out in the kitchen. I say not that long ago. We're talking about YouTube time. It's probably been a while back now. Fortunately, his roommates were there and they were able to call an ambulance, and that saved his life. So right now, that what they're working on is either a diabetic issue, a heart issue, or possibly a stroke. Because a while back, JJ had a small stroke.
Yeah, when I went to visit him, Han, he was actually having some problems with the right side of his body.
Yeah, and so that's and like I said, that's all she knows because they picked him up today, and like I said, I'm sure they'll do an autopsy to find out exactly what the cause was. That's just the three things they're figuring it more than likely was, because that was the issue, his medical issues. So that's as of right now, that's what I know. And I know there's a couple of you here from, excuse me, not to dox you, but from Florida. Drew was here earlier. He's from Florida. I did tell or ask his roommate to let me know when the funeral arrangements are made, because I would like to come down from Atlanta. And if you guys that are from Florida, if you want me to pass it along to you, as soon as I know when the funeral arrangements are made, then I'll pass that along to you. But yeah, that's and sorry to give that. I mean, obviously this is already kind of a sad and somber thing. So sorry to make it more grim by telling you what I learned from his roommate. But I know some people in the chat were asking, what happened to him. Right now, they don't 100% know. They're saying it's one of those three things, more than likely. And some of you, if you're also another thing I would like to tell any of you that were in his phone, possibly, his roommate has his phone currently, but his sister is going to get his phone pretty quick, like within the next day or two. So if you get contacted from his phone, it would be JJ's sister, because she did say she wanted to get his phone and try to contact some of his friends that obviously aren't in Jacksonville, that aren't right there around him. So if you get contacted by somebody in the next couple days, it will be his sister, from what his roommate was telling me that she was. The roommate reached out to some people on YouTube because she knows his family doesn't necessarily know to reach out to people on YouTube. His sister, I'm guessing, is going to reach out to people that are like in his phone book. So like maybe you, Tommy, LDG, anybody that, you know, his numbers, your numbers in his phone, and they don't really know who you are. She may reach out to you in the next couple days. You know, to kind of let you know what's
He's
going
called
on.
me. Yeah, I got his number.
So
I'll pay attention to that.
I'm going by what his roommate told me. She unfortunately was the one that found him today, and you know she's been dealing with his family. So I can only imagine that's what's really going on. Is that so?
I just wanted to show this real quick. This was JJ's last official wall tweet. And for those of you who know him, you'll recognize where he's at.
Yeah, Waffle House cup of coffee, man.
Waffle House.
Awesome.
That was his favorite place in the world. And I'll actually agree with him on this. The best coffee I've ever had in my life is at the Waffle House.
Dude. Okay, for those of you who have visited a place that serves alcoholic beverages, okay? One of the best things on earth after you close down the bar is going by the Waffle House and getting just a big, fat, greasy plate of just whatever they got, you know? I love the Waffle House too.
Well, in Atlanta, they call it the after party.
Yeah,
when all the bars and clubs close, everybody in their drunken stupors go to the Waffle House before they go home. So, like on a Saturday night, Sunday morning, the Waffle House is packed out, and it's all the people that have left like the bars and clubs, and they're like, "Man, we're drunk as hell. We really need to eat something." So, in Atlanta, they call it the after party.
Yeah, I think waffles and bongs. Because talking about bongs, I'm gonna tribute. So smoke one for JJ.
Piper, as far as I know, unless somebody else on the panel had ever heard him say, I don't know that he's ever said what his favorite animal was. Not that I can think of.
I don't actually remember.
I don't think I've ever heard him say a favorite animal or a favorite color that I can think of off the top of my head.
Yeah, you've got a short memory in that as a. I think he has, but you'd have to go through the.
Well,
Lahu, good to see you, brother.
Just to make myself feel better, I'm gonna say JJ's favorite animal was a turtle, and his favorite color was green. Yay!
I wonder why you would say those things, Shelby.
I don't know. I don't know. It just popped into my head randomly.
We've kind of been going through the highs and lows, Tommy.
No, that's why I wanted to bring in a few of the funnier stories, like the one where I was busting his chops with all that stuff, and then of course his favorite gift. Because just in case anybody missed it earlier, this was JJ's favorite gift. It summed them up perfectly.
Very interesting. I see your hobbies are drinking, smoking weed, and all types of ill shit.
Okay.
Spork, good to see you, brother.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I actually got myself in such a state earlier that I thought I was going to smash my phone. I was so pissed off when I first heard the news, and then it kind of, it's like the stages of grief. You go through them. I went through mine actually relatively quick. And like I said a few times already during the stream, and I think that was partly because I never had the chance to do that with my parents. So I had the time to think about it. Sitting here, I had nothing else going on. I had time to actually just really sit there and think about it. And I think everything just hit me all at once.
Well, yeah, don't smash your phone because you'll have to go buy a new one, like me.
I know this one's not even a year old. I can't afford to smash it.
Hey, Tommy, I'm popping a link in the chat right now. We've been kind of pulling together here and finding as many clips as we can of JJ. Anzo's starting his stream. I'm going to pop in over there, but he put a nice montage together about JJ. If you guys want to see, there's the link.
All right, awesome.
I'm looking at it right now.
Yeah, man. Thanks for doing this, Tommy. Pulling the community like this. This is something that JJ, I mean, he'd be loving this right now. He definitely would have a smile on his face if he's seeing us right now. And yeah, I'm gonna miss you, JJ.
Absolutely.
Does anybody else have anything they want to say about JJ? Because I don't want to run over if Anzo's going to be doing a stream, throwing some more honors at JJ.
I would just like to say, for JJ, thank you for welcoming into this wonderful community, and I'm gonna miss you. I really am.
I never met him in person. I wish I could have, but I only knew him since 2019, and I kind of feel like I knew him a lot longer than that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd like to think he's all looking down on us right now with a big ass fat joint, the biggest one you've ever seen, and a big old cup of Waffle House coffee.
Yeah, no, I'm kind of I'm kind of jealous of you that did get to that have met him in person or whatever, because he definitely would have been one of the people that I would have tried to have gone to see the next time I was in the Sunshine State. But I guess I'll just have to live vicariously through you guys.
I will say this: if anybody out there, if you want to remember JJ fondly, and just pay a little bit of respect and honor to the man that he was. If you have any kind of Star Wars toy, just pick it up and hug it right now, because JJ would have appreciated that, because his love for the Star Wars franchise, and especially all the damn merchandise that came with it, was boundless. And like Mary was talking about it earlier, he gave her one of his lightsabers. He also gave his his granddaughter that he gave lightsabers to.
Yeah,
plus some of the toys he was saying.
Well, he gave 90% of his collection to his granddaughter. Most of it he gave to his granddaughter, or at least said it was for her, if he had not given it to her yet. He had already said it was what he had left was the figures, the ships, all the stuff he had, that he had boxed it all up and put it in totes and stuff like that, and was saving it all for his granddaughter, to give it to his granddaughter.
And a 31-ounce tumbler of Waffle House coffee. Is anybody else that they want to say about JJ before we close this out and send you all over to Anzo, where we're going to further talk good about JJ and all the wonderful
going.
things that he's given to people.
The world could use more people like him.
Yeah, I agree. I agree 150%.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but, yeah.
We need
he
more.
was a great
We need
guy.
more genuine. We need more genuine people. Not that I'm saying all of the rest of us here aren't genuine. We know that.
I'm genuinely a pain in the ass. This is 100% true. I mean, Han, you've talked to me in private.
I'm still mad that your guinea pigs nibble my damn toes every time you come around.
I would just say that JJ left an impression on me that I'll always take with me.
I may have to refer to my little my little Tuscan Raider action figure. I might actually just have to, instead of calling it Sandy, I might have to call it JJ now.
Anybody else? Last thoughts?
And if you know a younger person, one of your kids, a niece, a nephew, somebody like that's younger and not really been exposed to it, we all know, like we were just saying, JJ lived and breathed Star Wars. Introduce a youngster to Star Wars. Let them get into the Star Wars universe. JJ would love that. He lived and breathed Star Wars among other things, but if take the time to introduce the Star Wars universe to somebody. I know we're not all necessarily huge Star Wars fans, but JJ would love that. Any chance he got, I'm sure he would introduce anybody to Star Wars if they hadn't seen it yet. And he was really big on introducing his granddaughter to Star Wars with the movies and the figures. So,
all right, LDJ.
Yeah, that would be my only other thing. Is share Star Wars with somebody in honor of JJ. If especially the younger generations that aren't necessarily familiar, with Star Wars, especially the older movies.
Somebody else said they want to stop in. Yes, working. I resent the link. You should be able to jump in.
Tommy, I'm gonna drop. Okay.
All right, Slasher. Thanks for coming on, man.
Good to see you, brother.
Good to see you, Slasher.
I wonder what happened.
Good seeing you, dude.
All right, take care, Slasher. That was odd. Sporking went to jump in, but it said device not connected, and it just knocked him right back out.
I have seen that happen before, where for whatever reason, StreamYard and your computer don't want to cooperate with each other, and it says like it can't see your camera or anything, and it like kind of boots you out.
Well, we'll give him a few more minutes. I know Anzo's getting started. For everybody that's still here, if you want to go over there and hear some more about JJ, maybe some other stories that somebody's got to be able to tell, go over to Big of Ford Entertainment. They're doing it on Anzo's channel, right, Han? I think that's what Anzo said.
What was that? I'm sorry.
Yeah, they're doing it over on Biggerford Entertainment.
Yeah.
So
Anzo, in the private chat, there's a link. If somebody wants to, or Tommy, if you want to copy that link, LDG shared the link.
I wish I could, but if I try to copy that and open up another tab, my computer's going to crash.
It's let's see. Yeah, it's a YouTube link.
Is anybody here a moderator?
Yes.
No.
That has do you have the YouTube chat open by any chance, Darius?
Yep.
Because the LDG
Always.
dropped Anzo's link for his stream in the private chat.
Yeah, I'm almost positive that Darius is modded.
Yep. I'm on
if you want to share that, Darius.
Yep.
Okay, Soul Assassin. Soul Assassin.
Bone,
Okay.
Soul
Soul
Assassin
Assassin shared
got
it.
us Slashers, and then Soul Assassin dropped Big Ford Entertainment. Yeah, so if you guys want to stop over there and see what else other people might have to say about him, because you know, we've got a reach, and a lot of people came together to actually pay respects to JJ on this stream right here. But there might be other people that maybe fall outside of my circle of friends, or maybe they just can't let it go even for one day to actually pay respect to the man that helped so many of us. There might be other people over there that got another view on him. They got another story about him that we haven't heard yet. So I appreciate everybody that's come on, and we did this for JJ. We didn't do this for any other reason than for ourselves. For me, I know I had to talk this one out the best I could, even though I don't feel like I was talking much in the beginning.
I didn't talk much in the beginning because
I know you were so quiet. You were making me mad. I'm like, this son of a bitch ain't saying nothing. I know he cares about JJ, and he's not saying that.
Because you and Mary made me start crying before I could even talk that much.
But I guess Scotty ran into some problems and couldn't jump in. But I want to thank everybody that stopped by. Make sure to go over to Big Afford Entertainment, see what they got going over there in honor of JJ. Thank you all for so much for coming and paying respect to this man. And I'm going to take us out with our dedication to this stream for him. Have a good one, everybody. We'll see you next time.
Love each other.
Yeah. Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
What's going on, everybody? It's your boy JJ.